출발 1분 전입니다.
계속 끈다 계속. 나온다. 이게 나오노. 나 카메라 타는 거야? 영진아 이걸 보고 있다면은 나 TV.
Okay, now track is clear for Formula 1.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 8th EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup. This is the mixed singles event, and we've just seen a fantastic mixed doubles event which provided drama, provided action, and we're expecting more of the same with this mixed singles. My name's Mark Hatton, and I'm joined by Team Argentina's Veronica Ravenna in the commentary box. Veronica, it's been a long night commentating, but this is the final race of this fantastic event that the Korean Federation's put on in PyeongChang. What are your reflections on this day of racing?
I think it's been absolutely great. All the athletes have pulled off amazing runs, even with the mistakes. We've seen so many great fixes. We've seen so many great medals. It's been a great, great day.
And it's a great, great track. And look at this animation. Okay, Veronica, I mean, you raced on this track in the 2018 Olympics. Let us know a bit more detail.
Yeah, it's been about 7 years since I've been there, but you never forget your first Olympic track. I never had the privilege of going from the men's start, but those top corners I know can be a little bit tricky. And then, as you see, they're going through the chicanes, and then again, 15-16 is the other difficult transition. So you have the first corners, 9, 10, 11, and then 15-16. Here is men's start all the way from the top of the track. So this is the first corner.
As we saw yesterday, curve 2, one of those very tough curves on this track for the men going from the top as we go past the women's start, just on the right there.
Yeah, the men get really close to the woods in that second corner, but here they're picking up lots of speed. And these are nice big corners, so they're not too challenging, but you know what's coming up after this. You know this is the famous corner 9, and then the chicanes, which anything can happen. Another nice big corner 12. 13, 14 can also be a tricky transition. And then once you get into 15, and then a huge, huge uphill section into 16.
Yeah, we saw yesterday in the men's corner 13 providing a lot of drama for the male athletes. I'm wondering if we're going to see more today, because as we said, this is the first time in 7 years we've been back here, that the tour has been back here since the Olympics. These athletes haven't had a lot of training runs, so it's all to be seen. Ice temperature getting warmer, minus 2.9 now. That's pretty soft. Air temperature in the plus temperatures. This is turning out to be a relatively soft track for this mixed World Cup. 16 curves for the men, 14 curves for the female sliders. The men are going to negotiate 1,344 meters, and the women are going to negotiate 1,202. We've got an incredible setup for today. Obviously, China putting in 2 teams. That's so good to see. The home team, Korea, I'm so looking forward to them being able to compete in a mixed race. And one that I think we're all looking forward to is to see Wolfie Kindle in Team Austria 2 with Lisa Schulte. I mean, Wolfgang making history, winning 2 gold medals. Think he can make it 3?
Yeah, he has been on fire this weekend. This is his track for sure. It's quite different, I believe, to go from doubles and now men to the top of the start. But if anyone can do it, we know it's him.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that racing this afternoon. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a delay here before we get to our races. But as I said, whether you're a luge aficionado or completely new to luge, it's great to have you here. And so good to have you along for the ride. My name is Mark Hatton, and my co-commentator today is Veronica Ravenna of Argentina, a two-time Olympian here in PyeongChang and in Beijing. And we're saying about the athletes haven't been back here for 7 years. I mean, 10 training runs. I feel that makes it possible for them, a lot of athletes, to fixate on a couple of those key curves.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be focusing on, 9, 10, 11, honestly, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, were it me, I would think that 9 would haunt my dreams for most of my time here. I feel that is really what separates the teams so much.
Yeah, I mean, 9, 10 seems to be built a little bit easier than it was during the Olympics. We saw a lot of athletes stick it, that exit. But, 15, 16 hasn't proven to be that easy. We've seen a couple sleds tip over. We've seen quite some athletes lose the race in that tricky uphill section. And with 10 runs, and I mean, the men have 1.3 kilometers of track. That is not a short track to master in 10 runs.
Absolutely. So looking at this start list, who is your favorite for today?
I mean, I'm a little biased. I think Max and Merle, they're here for the win for sure. Max is a legend on its own, and Merle's been having the season of her life. But, I mean, any of them can take it. They're all such close between Lisa and Wolfgang, David and Hannah of Austria, and Max and Merle of Germany. But I really want to see how Natalie and Alex Ferlazzo come out. They're the mixed team of Switzerland and Australia, and both of them individually are super strong athletes, both finishing in the top 10, and now they're partnered together.
Yeah, I mean, that's my dark horse pick for this race is Natalie Marg, Alex Ferlazzo. I think you've actually absolutely hit the nail on the head there. They're such strong athletes in their own right. Alex Ferlazzo, having put on a bit of size over the last couple of summers. He's got that fantastic partnership he has with Team Canada, getting coached by Robert Fegg, sleds built by Duncan Kennedy, and also coaching from Duncan Kennedy. He's a force to be reckoned with. And as we saw in the last race, in the women's race, Natalie Marg just looking absolutely on fire at the moment. But then for me, in terms of my favorite, I like a fairy tale ending, so I'm going to go for Wolfie and Lisa as with Austria 2. I think it'd just be so cool to see Wolfie Kindle come back with 3 gold medals, especially with all the injuries he's carrying. I mean, he's slightly injury prone, isn't he, at the moment? He's carrying a few. Yeah,
it would be amazing to see, and to see Lisa get 2 gold medals in one day. She's killed this track this morning.
I mean, you can't write off positive past experience. So let's look at Austria 1. David Gleicher, blew the doors off the sport with that gold medal in 2018, which was just phenomenal to watch. And then Hannah Prock, who is just hit her form at this track right now.
Yeah, Hannah's definitely peaked this season right here, and yeah, I mean, David is the Olympic gold medalist in this track. So he's going to channel what he did in 2018. But I mean, it's anyone's race. It has to be 2 consistent runs, one from the men, one from the women. They have to hit the paddle, have a fast reaction. Everything has to be on point.
Yeah. I mean, the other team that I think needs mentioning is United States 1. United States 1 are in 3rd position in the rankings right now. So Tucker West and Ashley Farquhar. I mean, Tucker has the start record here, so physically he's on form. Ashley, I thought, slid beautifully in the last run. I thought she didn't get the result. Perhaps she deserved for the quality of the sliding we saw. And I think those two could also be a good outside shot to sneak onto the podium.
Yeah, and they're quite a little bit up ahead of in the start list, so it's not too many sleds, but 6 sleds going down the track could really slow it down by the time Austria, Latvia, and Germany go.
Well, this is true. It's super soft ice, and are they going to be cranking the refrigeration plant? We can't see it from here. I'm assuming with those plus temperatures, they're going to have to. So is that frost going to grow through the sprits? Hopefully not in such a short time, but weather is a fickle thing, and you never know. So looking again at this start list, let's go back to Sweden. I've loved watching Sweden mature as a luge nation. Not that they weren't a mature luge nation before. I mean, Sweden, incredible history in the sport. One of the original sliding nations, really. They've got that beautiful track up in Hammarstrand. They're pushing the sport of alpine luge now, which, if you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, it's performed on ski hills, on a snow luge and going around a slalom course. It looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm looking at this team of Rasmus Moberg and Tove Kahala.
Yeah, I mean, normally it's Svante Kahala, but Rasmus, yesterday got in the top 20. He put down a really clean run, and it's, whatever's best for the team, and Rasmus was the choice for this week. So I'm super excited to see him get his first mixed event. And Tova's just, she slides so beautifully. She pushes back like almost like no one I've seen. She just goes blind, and she'll tell you herself. She'll risk it, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That is the sport of luge, it seems. There's a lot of risk in this sport, and it's all about risk management and knowing when to risk it, I guess. As we see a forerunner go through the curve there, so that is good news for us, ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching at home. We have a delay, hopefully only about 5 minutes delay left. We're hoping to get going at 21:25 local time. Looking at my watch, it's about 21:21. Yes, it is. And we just saw a forerunner go fast, so hopefully the track is going to fix those technical issues, and we'll be ready to go with mixed racing in about 4 minutes. So that's been great going through this start list. I've really enjoyed this exercise. I mean, China putting in 2 teams. This is great to see. China putting in 2 teams, Korea putting in a mixed team. This is big steps forward for sport in Asia. And also, we shouldn't discount the mixed team of Kobayashi and Elsa Desmond, who pulled out at the last minute. Kobayashi is quite unwell, I hear, so very best wishes to him, but they had to make the team decision to pull out of the race there. But with China 2, China 1, and Korea, I mean, that's a great showing from the local nations to this track.
Yeah, it's great to see that these tracks are being used, and they're quite a lot to build. So to see China really take advantage of the amazing track they have, and the Korean team have taken advantage of this beautiful track. It's really great to see, and who knows, maybe for the next Olympics they'll have 2 teams.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, and then I mean, I feel that this mixed event, it's got to be a shoo-in for the Olympics at some point. It is such a wonderful format, and so good, like we said, for the casual luge viewer that switches on the TV once every 4 years and finds luge. This and the team relay, I think, are just absolute gold dust for our sport in terms of creating a new fan base and getting people excited about sliding downhill on your back.
Yeah, it adds that extra level of excitement that, it's not just one athlete doing their best, it's 2 athletes consistently. There's the paddle, there's the start gates, there's, lots of tracks have difficult finish corners, so will they get up, will they hit the paddle, will they miss? There's so much going on, and 2 runs it goes by in a minute and a half, which is nothing.
Absolutely, it's great to call as well because it just goes so quickly. So we're looking at this start list. We've given props to most of the people on the list. Let's look at Ukraine next, because I think Ukraine, the starts are phenomenal. Some of these young athletes from Ukraine are phenomenal. I'm looking specifically actually at Ukraine 1 here, Anton Dukac and Yuliana Tunitska. Now, that's not discounting Daniel Martinovsky and Elena Smaha, who are also wonderful athletes in their own right. But I feel like Anton Dukac, he had a great race yesterday in the men's.
He's had some really great races. He had an amazing race in Winterberg as well. He is an athlete that when he's on. And same as Juliana, you know, she's a powerhouse at the start, and she just kills every track she goes down. So they're great to see them going down together now, and we'll see combined, you know. They might not be the fastest sled, but with consistency, that just might be all it takes.
Consistency, that is the name of the game here, ladies and gentlemen, in PyeongChang. We've seen that, and Veronica and I are going to have a little chat about sled setups in a minute, but while we work our way down this start list. But I have some news from my people in the production truck. It looks like that technical difficulty on the track is still in effect, so we have a new start time of 21:35. And that's just popped up on the scene. Further delay, expected new start time, 21:35. So that's in about 10 minutes. Hopefully we will be off to the races. So, Team Romania, Valentin Cretu, incredibly experienced athlete. He was racing when I was racing. Wow. And Karina Buzatoy. I mean, that's a solid team of two athletes that are really on form.
They are, and Valentin, actually, talking about sleds, made his own sled, and that is quite a feat. And something a little special that he shared with me was he chose the color of his sled based off the nail polish that his wife was wearing, which I think is super cute.
Wow. Did he tell you that on Valentine's Day? Because that's a story that I would want to get out there on Valentine's Day, I think. Wow, what a smoothie. Okay. So Valentin Greta, and Buzatoy has been fantastic as well. I mean, I was really impressed with her sliding in that women's singles.
Yeah, she's been fast since she was younger, and you know, when she's kind of one of those athletes that will come down and have a killer run, or she'll make a lot of mistakes. There's no one or the other. She goes for it, and just like Tova, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, she's willing to go for it, which a lot of athletes, you know, are a bit more reserved. They're a little bit more nervous or a little bit more scared, but she trusts it, and she trusts the process, and she knows that the good runs will start overcoming the bad runs, and hopefully pretty soon they're just all good runs.
Well, that's it. That's what you hope for, isn't it? Is creating that consistency. Well, let's talk about Italy. I've really enjoyed watching. I mean, I don't hide the fact I'm a huge Dominic Fishnella fan. I'm a fan of classical luge sliding where people are technically perfect. And I think out of everyone on the tour, I mean, he went home with a medal yesterday, a silver medal. But I think out of everyone on the tour, he is the most entertaining slider to watch.
Yeah, he is an amazing slider to watch. His starts are good, his position's good, his driving's good. I feel like he has everything.
Yeah, I mean, when I coach the kids up in Whistler, and where you don't really have to roll into curves using the shoulders, I say to them, you know, go and watch a video of Dominic Fishnella. You want to see someone where timing is absolutely perfect, just rolling into those curves and helping the sled on and off the curves. I mean, nobody does it better in my mind. Verena Hoffer, Dominic Fishnella, that's a fantastic pairing. As is Italy too. Leon Felderer and Nina Zogler. Younger team, but again, that's a solid B string.
Yeah, the Italian team is super solid. And another little cute tidbit, I saw a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, Leon got some tulips for all the girls for Valentine's Day and handed them out as they came up the finish. If you go on the FIL Instagram channel, you'll see it. And I think that's just so incredibly thoughtful, and it just speaks to the kind of person he is.
Well, yeah, you're a long time away from home, and it's so good to see the tour in such good shape, and people really getting on the tour. It's genuinely, it's a friendly arena to play a trade of sliding down mountains.
Yeah, and we always say, luge, it's, even though you compete against other people, when you're on the track, it's just you. So, your competitor's best run won't have anything on your best run. So, we're all here doing our best, and it's just how we rank up against each other on that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and talking about doing our best, the Koreans have put on an incredible event here. I remember during the Olympics, the soldiers from the Korean Army, they were absolutely so welcoming. They had come there to volunteer. I'm not sure they were volunteering, but they come here to help with the proceedings, and they were absolutely wonderful. But also the volunteers here were just mind-blowing. They couldn't do enough for you, and it just made it such a beautiful Olympic experience. Yeah,
they really, anything that you needed, they would do. I remember we went into the physiotherapy room, and the volunteers there, they'd have a picture drawn for me every single day. They were just excited to be there.
Yeah, I can believe that. And I think this race has come at exactly the right time. We're moving. We had the Youth Olympics here in January 2024. So what that means is the Korean Federation's got new race officials trained up, new volunteers that are stoked on luge and want to be a part of it. And so now we have another big event for those freshly trained volunteers who have, tasted an Olympic event, or albeit a youth Olympic event. Now we have a situation where they can come back, and you keep them involved, keep them engaged. And this is what's so great about this push by the FIL, who quite rightly have recognized that we need to expand the tour into Asia more regularly. And as we've seen, they can certainly handle a World Cup. This has just been absolutely wonderful, and I got absolutely faultless.
Yeah, this year FIL has really taken us to all the tracks. We had Norway that we hadn't had in quite a while, and now Korea, and next week China. They're spreading the luge love to all the corners of the world for sure.
Well, I have some good news, and that is that. There's 21:35 restart. The second restart, we're looking like we're good to go. So we are going to be going with luge in about 4 minutes' time. So thank you for sticking with us while we dissected the start list, went through the teams. That was, I actually quite enjoyed that. And then we look at this track, those signature curves. Curve 2 for the men, that gave us, I don't think I've seen so many different lines on a curve as we did in the men's race last night in curve 2.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to get around that corner. But I feel like regardless, it's a short corner. The wall and the roof come quick. I've seen many people there in the Olympics that just got a little too much height and tapped the wood on the top of the roof, which is quite a scary thing to do.
I can see that. We saw it a couple of times yesterday, and that entrance to 3, it has to be built really long, because it seems like 2 just wants to throw you so early towards that left wall and knock you away from 3. And it's we saw such a variety of lines through there yesterday, but everyone seemed to make it through 3 okay. So that's testament to the track crew here, because nobody wants to set a mousetrap at the top of the track. You want to give everyone the biggest chance of success as possible.
No, I can't comment too much. I don't know if I want to say luckily, but I've never had to go through that corner because, we go into corner 3, but it is such an interesting corner to watch. And absolutely, you want to get the sleds going. You don't want anyone to be flipping in the 3rd corner. That's no fun for anyone. So the track crew have done a really good job at making the track built super safe. We've seen most of the sleds get through okay. Nothing major apart from, a little bit of skidding here or there that resulted in a flip. But the track is in excellent conditions.
It really is in excellent condition, but as you can see on the screen, luge fans, we have a further delay. Sorry, we spoke too soon. I have new information. We now have an expected new start time of 21:55, pushing that out a little bit more. But if you're happy to stick with us into what's actually become a bit of a podcast, you're very welcome. We're just happy to talk luge. It's great fun, and we've had such a great time here. It's been a World Cup for the record books, absolutely. I want to talk about sled preparation, because we see on not the less technical tracks, let's say Eagles, a track that's easy to get down but difficult to go fast on. And you see the sled technicians on a track like that, generally they'll go for broke. They're going to put you on a rocket ship, you'll make it down. I feel it's a different approach here in PyeongChang.
Yeah, I feel like especially because the athletes don't have the experience here, you know. In all the other, mostly European tracks and some of the North American tracks, chances are we've done every possible entrance and exit into a corner and we know how to get out of it. But when you're in a new track and maybe, you know, you've never gone late into 9, and if your sled is too risky, your coaches know that you're just going to flip, but your coaches know that it's just going to end up costing you more than maybe a fast sled would gain you, at least in my opinion. And especially a track like this one where there isn't too much pressure, you know, sometimes risking it, it's a long track, and I think consistency is best in this track.
Although I feel like when we saw Wolfie Kindle there yesterday in the men's singles, I don't think he followed that rule. I don't think there was much left in the locker there. I think he went full beans, top to bottom, both runs, and it absolutely worked out for him. But I felt like he was so on the edge. You know, when you see Max slide, you think, okay, this guy's on rails. You know, he just is faultless so much of the time. But when we saw Wolfie go down, it looked like he was so on the edge from top to bottom yesterday.
And I think that comes from Wolfie's experience. You know, he was willing to risk it all because he trusts himself. He trusts himself to know how to get around each corner. And I mean, every athlete is a little bit different, but sometimes, you know, you risk it and you might see a super messy line and you're thinking, how the heck is that athlete faster than the athlete before them that had a picture perfect line? But that's the sled setup. They're willing to risk more and they're willing to make mistakes for the sake of that 100th of a second.
Yeah, absolutely, and it comes down to that, doesn't it? I mean, we've seen it come down to the thousandths of a second this weekend. Incredibly close margins in this sport generally, but I feel we've seen more than our fair share of a thousandth of a second or a couple of a thousandth of a second finishes. I want to go back to talking about the Asian teams here, specifically China and Korea. We're talking about legacy. In terms of the legacy on the track, I just feel like that the Koreans have just built and built and built after that very, very successful 2018 Olympics, where the Koreans were coached by Stefan Skell, Robert Fegg, Andre Langer, and some other bloke. And I think that they've continued that. They hired Wolfgang Staudinger, Maciej Kurowski, and I'm really impressed with these super young, juniors, youth A's actually, that have come up and are now racing a World Cup on their home track.
Yeah, they're doing, the Korean team, I mean, a little bit like the Canadian team, are doing a rebranding, let's call it, and they're bringing their younger athletes, and, they're not afraid to miss races, to have training weeks, which I think is crucial, especially at that age where they're just developing. And we saw them miss a couple races in the new year just to get some extra training in Whistler for the world champs. And they're young athletes, but they're doing great. Their lines here are great. Okay, it's their home track, you might say, but it's not easy. It's not easy sliding from men's start regardless of your age and regardless if it's your home track. So that's such a feat for sure.
So we have a question from our avid luge fans. This is Jackie Forgan on the live chat. So moving to China, what do you think will be the challenges there, Veronica, for the tour next week when they get to Beijing?
Oh man, I'm not an athlete that remembers tracks by the corner numbers. I could tell you the track top to bottom by feeling, but right before the last corner in China, there's a little tricky chicane that I remember sent a lot of athletes, gave a lot of athletes a lot of anger.
Absolutely, and I believe, well, I know that was also christened the Dragon's Tail. So there's two Dragon's Tails. There's the one here out of 9, but I remember the commentators also, and I think the track christened that section the Dragon's Tail. I was going to say that. I think the other thing about China, which it's not my favorite part of the track, but I think there's a lot of time to be made in it, is that enormous Kreisel.
I was just about to say, I love that Kreisel. You have so much time to, I want to say almost you lay back, you think about how your run had been so far, you can strategize about how you're going to attack the next of the run. It's big, it's got beautiful views, and then there's some real tricky corners right after it.
Yeah, definitely, very much so. And just to explain to those new for luge, a Kreisel, so, well, in the Cool Runnings movie, they referred to it as a 360-degree whip around. It's probably not quite that exciting, but it is usually a 360 degrees, sometimes less, never more. And it's named after the German word for a children's spinning top. Did you know that?
I did not.
There you go. We learn something new every day. So the Kreisel is, they're usually put into the track to actually slow the sleds down ever so slightly because you create pressure all the way down. And so that's why they were initially brought into tracks. There we go, luge nerd at the ready with useless facts about tracks. But that's just for our newcomers to luge. Yeah, I think that I'm so excited for that Beijing track. And do you know what I'm also excited for is for the tour to go there outside of COVID times. When we think we went there in 2022, and we basically saw the inside of the hotel, the inside of the bus, and then the track. And that was the experience. No fault of the Chinese organizers, who I thought, under those circumstances, did such a wonderful job. I mean, they were on it was a bit of an uphill struggle to make it feel like an Olympics, but they managed. And I think it's going to be a great experience for the tour to just get out and walk around and actually see China.
Yeah, and the volunteers for the Olympics, I know they had to quarantine for like 3 weeks before the event, and then again 3 weeks after, so giving up 6 weeks of their lives, plus the 2 weeks of the Olympics, all just to try to make it special for us. I think that speaks volume to them, and now they've planned, I believe they're taking the tour to the Great Wall and to view another couple sightseeing stops. And so to have that planned for them, you know, most places that we go, we all plan our own events, but to have the Chinese people come out and say, you know, we want you to see these, we want you to experience our culture and, you know, get to be a part of it and make it more than just a race, I think is super, super special. Yeah,
it's so nice when you see people that are genuinely, they want to show you what the country has to offer. And I think it's going to be so eye-opening, especially for some of these younger athletes that maybe didn't make the plane to Beijing, you know, for the games last time, and to be there. It's sadly we just missed Nagano, obviously, which was such a wonderful track in Japan. So sad to see that track go. But going back to legacy, it's been so good to see the Chinese keep their good coaching team. They a great coaching team they put together. I know Tony Benshoff's taken a season off at the moment, but it's great to see Nori Huber and those guys really, really building this program. You know, that desire to just build on what came before. And when you've had an Olympics, sometimes you see that drop off straight afterwards. And it's so good that we've seen Korea and China just try to keep on pushing.
Yeah, and both Korea and China are consistently in the World Cups, qualifying through from the Nations Cup qualifier. I remember when they first came on the circuit, and we were a little unsure. We'd watch them in the Nations Cup, but now, sometimes it's like, oh gosh, okay, I have to beat them, and they're sometimes uncatchable. They're really now solidly parts of our competition, and they're showing up every week, and they're putting down really consistent, solid results, which is great to see.
It really is. So we have a live chat on the YouTube channel. If you've got any questions, just type it into there. We will get our expert Veronica to answer them. And so that's on our YouTube channel, the FIL YouTube channel, in the live chat. We've got an update coming very shortly about this 21:55 start time. So collectively, luge fans, I'd like you to cross your fingers and your toes. Hopefully we'll be getting going very shortly. Okay, I have a question around standardized sleds. We've seen, it's the old, what's it called? The old argument you get from Formula One racing, where you say, if we put Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in the same car, who would win? And I feel we've seen that in women's doubles with the standardized sled. Now, post 2026, we're going to be going to standardized parts, standardized measurements. That's going to be quite a change for the tour, I think. It's going to be seen how that plays out, but very, very exciting prospects there. So we have a question from Alexandra Oberstolz. Why didn't Veronica slide in the singles race?
Oh man, I wish I could have gone. It's, Korea holds such a special place in my heart. So does China, but unfortunately, we fund my season by myself, and the flight over to China and Korea and the hotels, I couldn't make the budget work. I really wished I could, and we tried every which way, but some of us are the small countries. We work in the summer to pay for our seasons in the winter, and we have some support from the IOC and the FIL, but really, unfortunately, I couldn't make it work. But I'm glad to be here with Mark, to feel like I'm part of it while being a couple thousand kilometers away.
And that is the secret broken, that we're a few thousand miles away. Yes, we are. We're sat here in Vancouver, actually. And it looks like we might have another question coming in. You might say, well, this is a very good point. Absolutely. From Jackie Forgan, you might say the women's double sleds are standardized, but there are many things that the athletes can do to these sleds, including the steels and the setup. That's absolutely true, Jackie Forgan. The witchcraft and, in terms of the tuning of the sleds is very much alive and well in women's doubles and well, and that's where the athletes and the coaches and how they set those sleds up is so important. But I just feel that with those standardized sleds, it just takes one of those variables out of having amazing sled builders.
Yeah, I feel like, maybe unpopular opinion, and I hope I don't get in trouble for this. It's not just the sleds, you see these athletes, you see the American team, you see the Austrian team, the German team, where they've just put 100% of themselves into this sport. All summer, they have, some would say, the luxury of just focusing on luge. Many of them are still in school as well. But, the sled is only a small portion of it. The athlete, you have their strength, you have their driving abilities, you have just their natural talent. And while I think, standardized sleds could be a step in the right direction, I don't think we'll see too big of a shift, because I think, the Max Langenhans, the Laura Kipps and Selena Eggles, put them on whatever equipment and they will thrive.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's a very good opinion. And I think going back to Jackie Forgan's comment, that brings also, if you have standardized sleds, those magicians in the sled room, your mechanics, your technicians, your coaches, sometimes the athletes, or sometimes a combination of all, the usual suspects are still going to get that material absolutely flying.
Yeah, and I think it's, many people say to standardize everything, but, every athlete is a different height, a different weight, and, some people, I like my sled a little more flexible. It's just, who I am as an athlete, and I might not be able to turn another athlete's sled, and vice versa. So, the sleds have to be tweaked to each athlete. That's so different, and when you have the amazing sled technicians that they know how to find that thousandths of a second in the steels, they're going to do it.
Absolutely. Well, I have good news. I hope it's not a false alarm. It looks like we are on for our expected new start time of 21:55, which is just about 6 minutes away. 5 minutes away. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup here in PyeongChang, South Korea, site of the 2018 Olympic Winter Games and more recently the 2024 Youth Olympic Winter Games. We have mixed action today. We've just seen the mixed doubles, which was absolutely fantastic race with Germany won, taking victory and taking the overall as well. And then we've got, right now we're coming up to singles action, where it's more of the same, but basically you have the male athlete go first from the top of the track, comes through the finish line, hits the touchpad, that then opens the gate for the female athlete going from the women's start, and they come down the track, hopefully, and hit the touchpad to stop the clock. It's fantastic, it's fast, it's furious, there's an element of chaos to it, and it's an absolute fan favorite. So I have Veronica Ravenna of Team Argentina in the commentary box with me today, and Veronica, an Olympian from PyeongChang in 2018 at this track. 7 years ago, then went on to go to her second Olympics in Beijing. And looking at this track, Veronica, it's got to bring back incredible memories.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. To think that I was there as a 19-year-old, it was my first Olympics. I didn't know what to expect. Definitely overthought everything. I remember that for sure, and I was upset with my results. But, at the end of the day, I finished, and I had my mom, my dad, my brother, who, he failed an exam to come watch my race, which for me was, like, that is brotherly love. He was willing to miss out on one of his final exams to come and watch me on my race, and then we spent a weekend in Seoul, celebrating my birthday and seeing everything that this country has to offer. It's such a special place. I will never forget it.
That's wonderful. What a great story. So we've got 16 teams in this mixed World Cup. We're going to get going with China too. We've got 2 Chinese teams. We then have the Korean team, which is great to see, those 3 teams. And we've got an incredible team put together for Austria too, I think, that could make history today. Wolfgang Kindl and Lisa Schultz, both off a gold medal in the singles events, respectively. Wolfgang Kindl, as we heard earlier, making history as only the 4th athlete to win 2 gold medals in one weekend, which is just fabulous to see. And that's going to be really, really interesting to watch. Looking at the overall standings, we have Germany 1 in first place, Germany 2 in second place, and United States 1 in third place. Germany 1 and 2 are only separated by 15 points. So that, again, could be a little bit of infighting between those 2 German teams to see who is successful, who reigns victorious. Germany 1, they won in Lillehammer. Germany 2, they won in Oberhof. Let's see who wins in PyeongChang. Maybe one of those two, maybe someone completely different. United States won, as we saw, a little way back in the points, but in third place. And I've got to say, from 6th place up to 3rd place, they're only separated by 17 points.
1 minute to start. 1 minute to start.
So here we see up at the start, the coach is getting the sleds ready. That's, I mean, that's an interesting job when you have that many delays, isn't it? Keeping the sled at temperature.
Yeah, I've always kind of said, like, I wish they would develop, you know, like a thermostat in your house that you could just turn the steels, put the temperature, and it would do it on its own. But the coaches are there fanning the sleds and using snowballs and whatever they can. And I imagine you see lots of sleds are wrapped up. But here we go.
This is great to see. We are back at it. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. That's been a bit of a delay, but we're going as promised at 9:55. And our first athlete is Jing Li of China 2. And Jing Li is going to hopefully open the gate by hitting the touchpad for Huilan Hu.
So the men are quite lucky they don't have a start gate. I have beef with the start gate, but that's just me. So he pulled a pretty conservative start. Sometimes, you know, it's just a mental game of, you know, I didn't pull a huge start, my run will be slower. It doesn't make too much of a difference once you get down to the deep ends of the track, but that's all right.
So Jing Li with a successful curve too there. I'm wondering if the Chinese team have actually had a little bit of extra training here. Very high in the middle there, though, just getting thrown up. As we see Jing Li go through curve 8 into 9. This is where it really matters. Managing to stick the landing beautifully. A little bit of too much pressure in the entrance, so of 12, but getting away with it. As we see Jing Li go very late into 14, skidding into 14. Big skid, just skidding sideways into 15, gets the sled back on track. This is action-packed run from top to bottom. He's hopefully going to have the speed to hit the touchpad. Yes, he does. Hits the touchpad and opens the gate for Huilan Hu.
Who had a rough laydown. We saw her sled just kind of shift direction, and that, you know, you're pulling the start, it's a reaction start, your heart is racing. It's not an easy thing to do, but, you know, she's got it back under control. She's pushing back. Into 9 she goes. Oh, my bad, I jumped ahead on the track.
That's okay. Into 8. Let's see how this transition really stretching out with the position, and it's working for her as she gets another good exit of 9. Just a little tap of the feet.
And around she goes. That was a nice setup into 14. Not as much height as I would have liked in 15, but I mean, we'll take it. She's putting down a clean run.
And here we go, just getting the touchpad by her fingernails. That is China 2 opening the scoring for us with a combined time of 1:44.996. That was incredibly close to missing the touchpad.
That was really tight. I believe you just need 4 kilos of resistance to trigger that touchpad, which, you know, it's not a lot, but it is a lot sometimes. And it's quite high. The doubles can just reach their arms out, but lots of the women have to fully sit up to hit it.
So, moving back up to the men's start. This is Zhenju Bao.
You see him pulling a nice full start, so he's going to be in the green, I suspect, as soon as he goes around corner 1.
So let's see how corner 2 works for him. Very close to the woods, but just getting knocked away from 3, but still in the green. As you say, that was a nice full start. The talent identification where they pick these athletes from other sports has been absolutely top draw from China. As we see China 1 still in the lead at this point. Let's see how he's going at the 28 split. Half a second in the lead, just having to touch the feet and going very late into 11, but getting it back on track as we see him skid into 13. Okay, but still building that lead. We are 3/4 of a second ahead of China 2 at this point. Just having to dab the feet again on that uphill section, but crossing the finish line with a lot more speed as he opens the gate for Wang Peijian.
3.5 seconds. That is That is a big, big lead from their teammates. And we'll see now, this run is looking clean so far. She slid already today, so, it's not too different from this morning. But she's looking nice and clean, a little bit late for my liking, but 8's a nice big corner. You have lots of time to play with it.
Very close to that right wall, manages to control it into 11. Let's see how the exit of 12. Good exit of 12, but still bumps on a little bit to 13. But good setup there, as you say. Saving the best to last.
She's still, I jinxed it. I said she's still gaining time. Oh, but I mean, they have 3.5 seconds to work with.
Just getting into curve 15 there sideways, but China 1 go ahead of their compatriots from China 2, their teammates, by, as you say, 3.1 seconds.
And it's a long outrun. I remember I did the same for the Olympics. I got excited, I sat up, I started braking, and then you just kind of got to walk.
Here we go then with Team Korea and Jimin Kim. Jimin Kim yesterday in the men's, putting down a good event. As we see, just a little problem with the start gate there.
There's a lot of moving parts in this race for sure. And the officials are doing an amazing job at making sure that it's all running as smoothly as possible.
So here goes Jimin Kim for Korea. Young Jimin Kim, but so experienced on this track with a very nice curve 2-3 combination there. Getting lots of height, but not too much height up to the woods. As we see Kim really starting to stretch out through these top curves as he goes past the old junior start where we would have raced the Youth Olympics, as he goes into curve 8.
He's got a bit of a funky entrance into curve 8, but that was a nice, a little bit late into 12, but that was a nice curve 9.
Yeah, as we say, just going into the deep end there, into 11-12 combination. We're stretching out in 14. Let's see if we can get that classic Korean 15, and we do. Nice height, good cross to 16, and setting up for success for Yong Hai Sun, back by 0.6 of a second.
We see he sat up quite a bit early, and I mean, I'm a culprit of that too, but having not gone a lot of pad time, you don't want to miss it. So the younger athletes or the less experienced athletes will definitely sit up a little bit early for that pad. You create a bit of wind resistance, but it's better to hit it and lose a little bit of time than to miss it and be disqualified.
That's absolutely right. Again, we talk about consistency as Hai-Sun Young navigating 9 nicely there. Still going in a little late. Not as good as the one she did earlier in the singles event. But still, most athletes would take that exit from 9 every day of the week.
Let's see this 15. Nice.
Little bit of right direction there. Again, not quite as good as her earlier one, but still. Team Korea putting down a very solid run, just slipping into second place behind China 1 by 0.3 of a second.
There you see Hazen, she's happy, she's dancing. It's always nice to race at home, and she knows, she did it today, this morning, she's done it now. It looks like it's snowing.
It does. We've had everything here this weekend. We've had a dry weather warning. We've got snow. We've had a massive delay, which thankfully the hard-working officials have fixed. And as we see, Ukraine 2 and Daniel Martinsovsky, who's going to be handing the virtual baton to Elena Smaha.
Yeah, he's wearing a yellow visor, which is usually nice for like foggy or darker situations because it makes it nice and bright. He really went for those paddles.
That was a committed start indeed, Veronica, as we go into the tricky corner 2. Very, very high. But like you said, that entrance to 3 being quite forgiving to the athletes. They do get a high line. You saw that skid as well?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. That was a bit of a snow shower for sure. So I'm not surprised that he's fallen into the red. That was a pretty major skid.
Very high in the entrance of 9, and this is going to be tricky for him, but he manages to get it back close to the woods in 11, but getting away with it. Still carrying speed through the bottom, but losing lots of time here with those big mistakes in 8, 9. Very, very early height in 9, and that just gave him an impossible task. He just skids out of 15.
I wonder, see him hit the pad. 14.1 seconds. I wonder how much different the ice is from yesterday. He was skidding quite a lot. So I wonder if maybe it's just that much harder, or they decided to risk it a little bit more.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think even though we saw on the official temperatures that the ice was a little softer, that can be very deceiving. You can see the ice just starting to go milky, so I think the track is quite soft, as Alina Smart just manages to get through there as well, threading the needle.
Yeah, we'll see if she's able to catch up any of that time. They've kept it pretty much the same.
1.2 seconds back here. That may put them ahead of China too, if they carry on with this good uphill speed. And reaching up, hitting the touchpad into third position, as we thought, sneaking ahead of China 2 into third place, and picking up a bit of time there in the finish, just back by less than a second.
Shaking his head, he knows he could have done better. He knows his run yesterday was better, but that's the name of the game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, as they say.
Put that in beautifully there, Veronica. And as we go to Romania and Valentin Cretu.
I love watching Valentin slide. He's been around for a long time. He just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, experienced sport, as we say. Just getting brought up by that big pressure in the middle of 2, but making a lovely transition into 3. Valentin's starting to stretch out through these top curves where it's so important to carry that speed. And then if you get that tricky curve 9 exit right, that speed you built up in the top just multiplies down the track. Valentin well in the green here, a little high in the entrance. He's going to tap on there. Big rooster tail of ice out the back of the sled into 11.
His experience shows he knows how to hold it down. He's still in the lead.
And still gaining time. It's 1.5 hundredths to the good as he crosses the finish line. Now he has to open the touchpad, hits the touchpad hard, releasing Iona Buzatoy out from the women's start through the gates.
Yeah, Karina, she had a great race this morning, finished in 15th place. I think that's a career best. So, she's now just looking to have fun with this race.
It's looking a little skiddy up there. I wonder if that's frost forming, making the track a little less stable as well. Sometimes when the frost forms, depending on your setup, it can become very unstable. And it looks like the track is frosting up heavily, unless that's the snow we were talking about. But Buzatoy looking good through this bottom section, stringing together some good combinations. Lovely flat line through 14. Let's see how 15 is. Good late entrance and a beautiful exit from 15 as well. Buzatoy having the run of the day here so far as she crosses the finish line, hits the touchpad, and Romania move into first place. Valentin just celebrating there at the top and ahead, not just by a little bit, but by almost a second, 800ths of a second to be semi-precise.
Yeah, you can see the smile on her face. I think this might be her new favorite track. She had, a flat 9, but she solved it. She made it work. Oh, we had a change on the start list. We actually have Svante Koala instead of Rasmus.
So, a last-minute change from the Swedish team here. Svante taking the place of Rasmus Moberg, who slid earlier in the weekend, as they both did. And, seeing Svante slide this season has just been so much fun to see him really break through.
Yeah, both him and, his sister Tova, they've both started knocking on the door of the big teams, proving that Sweden is a force to be reckoned with. So let's see his corner 2.
Nice flat line, but puts him very early to 3, but getting away with it again. That's good to see. And carrying speed, let's see how we are at this 27 split in about 10 seconds time. But Svante very much in the green as he approaches curve 8, looking smooth and really trying to stretch out to maintain that momentum. Out of 9, just having to dab the foot, and he manages to get through there just by half an inch from the right wall. as we go into 14, and he has 0.2 of a second ahead of Romania. This is a great run from Svante Kahala as he gets ready to release the gates, hitting the touchpad, releases Tova Kahala from the top. It's a family affair as she drops into the track, little hook steer into the curve there. That's the first one we've seen like that so far, as Tova Kahala again really stretching out in these curves with that classical position that she has on the sled. Really puts the head back.
Yeah, she's really pushing back, and you can see feet flopping around a little bit. That just means how relaxed she's relaxing her body. She's really just letting it go. That was perfect. I'm super proud. That was a great run. Svante had his redemption run from this weekend, and now we're seeing Tova just crushing it down. We'll see if her 15, if she has enough height. Could have been a little bit higher.
Building that lead as they come to the finish line. She's got to hit that touchpad still. Manages to do so 0.75 of a second run.
That was great. I mean, we know they can do that.
Well, so who are our leaders at this point? Well, Sweden in first place, Romania in second, and China in third.
The look of relief in Tova's face. They did it. They both had good, clean runs. And here is Leon.
Leon Felderer and Nina Zergler for Italy 2. This is our 7th team of 16 that we're going to see today in this mixed relay.
He's getting ready, and down at ladies start, Nina's also getting ready. We don't see it, but they get a little bit more time than the doubles to get their sleds on the ice while the men are still getting ready.
We were talking about that earlier, and I guess getting your sled on the ice too early is not great either. So it's a real tactic for them to keep the sled off the ice as long as possible, isn't it? To stop the steers from getting any colder.
Yeah, but you want to make sure you give yourself enough time. We saw a couple races throughout the year where the girls tried to fight it a little bit longer and then had to rush pulling that start.
Absolutely. So Leon here, very early height in 9, but great exit from 9 from Leon as we go around 12. Let's see here, this is 12-13 transition, a little bit of spray, and skidding into 14. He's got to get that sled back under control, and he managed to do so and still keeps it in the green with a solid 15 exit, but having to drop the feet as well. Crossing the finish line, has to hit that touchpad, and he does. And they're 3.5 tenths ahead of Sweden at this point as Nina Zergler.
She's off. She's looking pretty relaxed. Her head is back. She knows that these top corners are important. I mean, she has her dad in her corner. Who wouldn't want that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's quite a tough act to follow, but following it she is and creating her own legacy, Nina Zergler, which is so great to see. Another lovely exit from curve 9. 11-12 looking good. Just getting lifted up on 12 again on the exit, which makes 13 so tricky. It just throws you across a little early, but they've got almost half a second to play with here. So with that good exit from 15, we should be seeing a new leader. It's Italy 2 crossing the finish line and hitting the touchpad. Nina Zergler and Italy 2 into first place by 0.444 of a second.
You see a happy Leon going to cheer on his teammate. They did it. They both had pretty good runs. Leon had a little bit of skidding mistakes, but I mean, like we say, you need 2 good runs.
So straight back up to the top we go. We are racing through the start list as we see Juliana Tunitska just taking the start there, getting ready for the second leg of this mixed race. But at the top, the man of the moment, it's Anton Dukash of Ukraine.
He is a pretty good starter as well. Looked a little bit reserved there. I know he's known to be much stronger in his start.
I find his start deceiving. He is a big start, but it doesn't look like it when you watch it. But when you see the clock, you think, oh wow, he found some power there.
Yeah, he's a strong guy for sure.
Okay, so Ukraine won, just slipping behind Italy here. This is where we're going to see by how much. Just by 0.08 of a second. Solid exit, though, into 12, just getting picked up in the entrance in 11. Let's see how that exit of 12 is. Much better exit of 12. Just going a little flat across 13, skidding into 14. Bit loopy across 14 and early to 15. He's going to have to push the sled across, and he does, as he still in the red, crossing the finish line and hits the touchpad into the green by 0.07 of a second and releasing his teammate, Juliana Tunitska, former junior world champion, who's made the jump from juniors to seniors look like a walk in the park.
Yeah, she came into the seniors, and I remember her first race, I believe, was in Sigulda, and she got, I want to say, second place in the European Championships, which was amazing. And she's having a nice, clean run. Let's see here.
That's the way to do it. Just building speed there. A little bit of spray going into 11, but not enough to cause any alarm, as Juliana Tunitska again getting a great 14, really showing that feeling on the sled. Looking like it's going to be a good 15, and it is. Into 16, up the big hill, round the corner, crosses the finish line, hits the touchpad, and they've dropped back. Where did that come from? It looked like it was all going so well, Veronica.
It's so tricky. It's an uphill section. You know, Juliana she's younger, she's a little bit smaller. Who knows what happened up there. But that was a really nice, clean run by both of them.
So it's Italy 2, Ukraine 1, Sweden, and then Romania in 4th place at the moment, as we now come back up to the game face of Tucker West, with Ashley Farquharson waiting her turn down at women's start.
They're both incredible starters, and in this track, it's so important to get that speed in the top corners. So I want to see what Tucker can do here.
There we go, the new holder of the start record, just pulling a little to the left there, gets it back on track, but into the green straight away for Tucker. Another big start, as you say, both big starters. And Tucker really going for it here, as you can see through these top curves, stretching it out, leaving nothing to chance. He knows that USA are third in the standings. He wants nothing more than one of those crystal balls, and he's doing all he can to get it.
See out of 9, and he sticks it.
Working hard along that straightaway, though, between 9 and 11. Tucker looking good through the bottom section here, still in the lead by 1.5 tenths.
I would say that was a little bit of an iffy entrance into 15. He just doesn't look quite so comfortable, but he's going to hit the pad.
Still got 1.5 tenths over Italy 2, United States, as we release Ashley Farquharson from the start gates. Ashley Farquharson having a great run earlier today. Hopefully she can replicate it again today, because she's really hitting some fine form at the moment.
She is one of my favorite sliders to watch. She looks like almost like she's singing her way down the track. She's just so relaxed and in the zone. Any run that she does. And there you see she had to fight a little bit, and she was quite late into 12, but she doesn't let it bother her.
Big pressure in the entrance there of 11 to 12. As we see just a slightly loopy 14 and a very early 15. She's going to have to fight to get it across, driving uphill, but I think they've done enough. United States crossing the line, got to reach up, hit that touchpad, and they're well in the lead. United States won, putting down a marker, 0.6 of a second. The fastest starter in the world at the moment, Tucker West, and Ashley Farquharson not far behind. A great run from United States.
Ashley arguably gained their team 0.5 second lead. That is tremendous.
Real teamwork we see there, and here we see Felix Locke on his Korean redemption tour, having the last time experienced immense disappointment. The Dragon's Tail in Curve 9, unfortunately scuppering his Olympic bid 7 years ago, but Felix out to prove a point.
Felix is one of those sliders that, like Valentin, he just keeps getting better and better, and I don't know how he does it. You always think he's peaked, and then he shows you he still has more in the tank.
Exactly. I loved watching him in Whistler last week. You know, that second run, it was almost vintage Locke, and Felix is still, at the moment, though, back in the red behind United States 1.
We'll see how he does this exit 9.
just getting so close to that right wall, but Felix threading the needle as we expect, and Felix is starting to pick up speed through this bottom section. It's down to 5 thousandths of a second with a beautiful flat line across 14 and a good solid exit of 15. Making the cut towards the finish line, sitting up super late, but that's extended their lead by almost 0.2 of a second over the United States as he releases Julia Taubitz.
World champion Julia Taubitz.
World champion Julia Taubitz. I stand corrected. Julia Taubitz again having a rough day earlier today in the women's race, but that doesn't seem to be putting her off at this portion of the track.
No, she's always in good spirits, and let's see how she does. She got it. She got it this time. Nice straight line. Exit 12, looking clean.
That's the best 12:13 we've seen so far in this race, and I think probably today from Julia Taubitz, really showing her class there. Just having to push it across uphill, and that's dipping down in the middle of 16 and sitting up, hitting the touchpad. They lost a bit of that lead, but they did enough to stay ahead of the United States by 3.5 tenths. We have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. It's Germany 2, Felix Loch and Julia Taubitz.
Those were good runs from them. You can see they're both happy. Felix always knows how to find speed down in the bottom. When you think there's no more, he shows you where it is. Julia having a typical Julia run.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the only mixed team in the field. We got 6 sleds left to go. This is the mixed team of Australia, Switzerland, Alexander Falazzo and Natalie Mark. Alex is just flying at the moment. He made history last year at the World Championships, 5th place in Altenburg in the Worlds. I mean, that was really, he didn't really have to announce himself onto the scene, but that was really incredible for him.
And his teammate Natalie Mogg getting 2nd place in the sprint World Championships in that same year as well. They're both athletes that are absolutely on fire, and in my eyes, they've been a little bit, you know, they've always been in the top, but they're not quite mentioned, and I think they deserve so much more attention. They're absolutely incredible athletes.
Well, you can see here Alex leaving nothing to chance, really stretching out through those top curves, and a brilliant exit of 9 into 11. Let's see if he gets picked up. He doesn't. It's a nice 13-14 transition as well. Okay, just back by almost 2 tenths, but Alex just fighting the whole way along this track. As he crosses the finish line now, he needs to hit that touchpad, and he does. Just almost 2 tenths back.
And now Natalie Mogg, here she goes. She had a nice start, making it around that start corner pretty well, and she's pushing back. She knows that she knows how to slide this track. She did great this morning, and she's just going to try to narrow that gap between her and Julia.
Yes, Natalie Marg really, really hitting a real period of good form at the moment here on the tour. Marg just skidding out there a little bit, but keeping the sled under control as we're coming up to that 1:26 split. Let's see how Australia and Switzerland are faring at this point. They're catching up. They're just a 1/4 of a second back from Germany too. This is a great run from Marg. Beautiful cross into 16. That's absolutely going to help her cause. Sits up late, hits the touchpad, back by 1/3 of a second into 3rd place for Australia and Switzerland, which leaves Felix Loch and Julia Taubitz on the top spot with 5 sleds left to go.
That was a nice clean run. I think Alex had a little mistake at the start possibly, but you know, you see them smiling. It was the end of the mixed singles for them, and what an event it is for them. This event was made for them.
It really was. So Italy won. Dominic Fischneider and Verena Hoffer next to go. Fischneider coming off the back of a silver medal in the individual event.
He is one of those, like you call him, Mark, the classic sliders. He just looks so good going down.
Yeah, he really does. It's so great to watch, and you know, the full package as he moves into the green straight away. You know, a solid starter, solid slider, and all-round nice fellow as he goes down the track, catching up with Germany 2 here. Italy 1, led by Dominic Fischnaller, and in this first leg, but just getting close to the left wall. A beautiful correction with the right foot, just doing enough. He may not have lost too much time there, but he's got to make it count through the bottom section of the track, and he has lost a fair chunk of change there as he's down to 11 thousandths of a second. Beautiful 15, but that will have affected this Italian 1 team as he sits up, hits the touchpad. There's only 26 thousandths of a second in it as Italy 1 go from the red back to the green.
Yeah, it's quite a lot for Verena to catch up. She'll have to have, Julia had a pretty perfect run. She'll have to be the same to stay in the lead. But, I mean, you see her correcting a little bit. She's pushing back. She's risking it all. This is a one-run race.
Well, she's got to go for it. I mean, it's such fine margins right now, and they've dropped into the red just back by 1.5 hundredths.
I'm honestly not sure where that 1.5 hundredths went. Exit 12 is looking nice. She's looking pretty clean, but she's bleeding time.
They're needing to make something special happen through this final 2 curves. They're probably not going to catch Germany, but they're fighting, and she misses the touchpad. The clock keeps going. We saw this earlier with one of the teams going down that left-hand wall and having to reach across. I think it was Bot's Plume, and just missing the touchpad. Italy 1. You just feel so sorry for her because that was shaping up to be a very competitive run.
Yeah, it's such a sad feeling. You see her here. She reached out with the left hand. And, we don't get practice with these touchpads in these new tracks. I mean, maybe, okay, it's not a new track, but we don't get experience, and it's her first time racing here. There hasn't been a team relay. So she just, you don't know where the pad's going to be. You don't know how high up it's going to be. You don't want to sit up too early, but unfortunately, that was a miss.
Well, are we going to see history made here today, ladies and gentlemen? Wolfgang Kindl, the man of the moment, I think we can all agree, after his incredible performance this weekend in the doubles and the singles. Let's see what he's got in this team competition, this mixed competition. But right now, he's back in the red, and as I speak, I wouldn't call it the commentator's curse, he moves into the green.
He's picking up speed. Wolfie knows how to find speed along the track. The longer the track, the better for him. And this is 1.3 kilometers. It's pretty long. That was a little bit of a skid, but he fixed it. He's back under control.
Sled run here through the bottom section of the track, rounding 16. Now let's see. Sits up early, makes certain of it, and builds on that lead. It's almost a quarter of a second that Austria 2 have over Germany 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking when the team before you misses the pad, especially when you haven't had a chance with this pad. You start wondering, is it too high? Is it too far? Is it in a tricky position? But it also gives you a little bit of edge to say, okay, I might sit up a little bit earlier to make sure I hit it. And Lisa's having a nice, clean run. Nice exit 9. She had 2 amazing runs today. She's riding that high for sure.
Great sliding here now. Just coming through and really stretching out, really going for it. Dropping out of 15 beautifully, crossing the finish line. Need to sit up late, and they do, crossing through with a quarter of a second. That pretty much stayed static throughout that run, bumping Germany off the top spot. That is Austria 2 into first place with only 3 sleds left to go.
That was a beautiful run by both of them. There you see them both happy, excited, and probably a little relieved.
Definitely so. And here's someone else that had a great men's race yesterday. Bronze medalist Kristas Apajots of Latvia. So Kristas Apajots, Kendia Apajoda.
Another super strong starter, another brother-sister duo. Their parents must be very nervous watching at home.
Incredibly nervous, and I'm sure incredibly proud as well, as Kristas Apajots gets the Latvia team going down this challenging PyeongChang track.
I'm I want to see how high he goes up into. Oh, not super high. He is a tall, strong athlete, so I was wondering if they'd get a little bit more height, but he knew exactly how to play with that.
The 2016 Youth Olympic champion in Lillehammer seems a very long time ago, and it is 9 years ago, but he's just gone from strength to strength. Just a little bit of a skid out of 9 there, but keeping it calm, keeping his cool, and keeping the sled going exactly where he needs it to go. Krista Zapiotso having to play catch-up here, but they're only back by 500ths.
Yeah, it's not too much. He's having to fight it a little bit over, cutting a little bit of time. I think he'll go a little bit further back. Oh, no, he picked up speed, and he sends his sister off.
Solid contact with the touchpad as it opens the gates at the top. As Kendia Apiota really has to stretch out. No, there's not much in this at all. I think it was 300ths at the last look. Let's see where we're at the next split, which is going to be the 1:15 split. Apiota looking great here, really fighting the whole way down the track, as you would expect.
Oh, she lost quite a lot of time. I'm not super sure where that came from. I think it may have been the start. She hung off a little bit. But here she comes from 12, a little bit height in my opinion, and we'll see how she sets herself up for 15.
And also just bumping onto 13, that's going to have cost her. They got very slightly airborne there as she bumped onto 13. And crossing the finish time, Latvia into third position, into bronze medal position with 2 sleds to go. That's Latvia with Austria 2 still our leaders.
So Wolfie will bring home another medal.
Yeah, he certainly will. And I'm assuming there's some history making there as well. Yeah, that guarantees Austria 2 a medal with 2 teams left to go. So next up we have Max Langenhan and Merle Frebel. But Austria 2 currently taking the top spot.
Max is another one of these athletes that is just so nice to watch sliding. He just makes it look absolutely effortless.
So Max Langenhan drops into the track. One more team to go after this. So Germany won with Max Langenhan really stretching out through the top curves, a solid curve too, and really going for it as you would expect.
Traditional Max form. He's pushing back. He's, rolling where he needs to roll. Even if he makes mistakes, he knows how to catch them. And let's see how he sets up 9. Nice.
As you would expect, on rails, out of 9, Max Langenhan just getting picked up a tiny bit into 13, but not a problem for Max Langenhan. 21 thousandths of a second to the good. So he's got to work up the hill here, crossing around 16. Needs to get that touchpad, and he does. 17 thousandths of a second in it. Julia Taubitz for Germany to try and overtake Austria 2.
Merle Frebel.
My apologies. Merle Frebel. It's been a long night. Okay, Merle Frebel.
And she's going, she has to beat Lisa. She was just off of Lisa's tail this morning. So she's hungry, and this is an athlete that when she wants it, she wants it.
Absolutely. Merle Frebel had such a great race and looked so happy with her performance earlier. So great to see. And it's looking like that 12-13 combination is going to work out well for her. And it does. Nice entrance to 14. And very flat through the middle. That gives her that nice middle-ish entrance to 15. We didn't see the exit. We can assume it was not half bad as she crosses the finish line. But back by just 22 thousandths of a second. That guarantees the team Austria 2 a silver medal.
I have no idea where that time went. Lisa just had her rockets on. That was a good run from Merle.
Unfortunately, we missed that exit 15. She was looking so good. So Austria 1, Austria 2, Germany 1, and Germany 2 right now in medal position. So it's up to David Gleicher and Hannah Prock to crash the party. David Gleicher, as we know, had that wonderful Olympics in 2018, where he came out of literally nowhere, his first podium of his career, and what a time to do it in the Olympic Games.
Yeah, I believe he was possibly not even going to race for the Olympics, and then he came, proved that he deserved to be here, and won the whole thing.
So great memories, I'm sure, for David Gleischer turning up here. Lovely line round too. I do like that low flat line through the middle. Gave him a great entrance to 3. It's now starting to really stretch out and try and find some speed in the top curve. Very, very high there though.
Yeah, he's going to have to be perfect if he wants to beat Wolfie. And he's got it back on track, but he's still just a little bit back. Nice exit 9. Let's see, 12 hangs on a little bit too much, but he got it back under control, yet he's bleeding time.
Okay, so he's a 10th back at this point, ladies and gentlemen, as he turns around in corner 16, crossing the finish line, needs to hit the touchpad, just gets the touchpad, but he's a quarter of a second back, so Hannah Propp has got her work cut out. She's going to have to produce the slide down this track of her life.
Yeah, she's quite a bit to catch up, but if anyone can do it, you know, she's come back from an injury now to go on the podium in 3rd place. There wasn't a lot between her and Lisa, so if she had any reserve.
She looked so good in that singles race. Like you say, if it's going to be anyone, it needs to be her. But unfortunately, they're dropping back more. We could be seeing history made by Wolfgang Kindl here. As we see Hannah Propp into 14. They haven't lost any more time there, but she's starting to run out of track. She's going to have to do something special as we go up the hill, still in the red. Around 16, gets up to hit the touchpad, hits the touchpad. Austria running to 5th. That means Wolfgang Kindl, triple gold medalist. The team Kindl Schulte of Austria 2 with the victory. Incredible race there, Veronica.
That's an incredible weekend for Austria's Wolfgang Kindl and Lisa Schulte winning her first ever gold and now her 2nd gold just 2 hours later.
See that beautiful sliding from Hannah Propp there, just keeping that beautiful form down that straightaway. Even though she didn't have a perfect exit, she just stuck to the assignment, and a noble run there from Hannah Propp, trying to chase down, but just ran out of road at the end. So the final results: Austria 2 in 1st place with Wolfgang Kindl and Lisa Schulte. Germany 1 in 2nd and Germany 2 in 3rd. Latvia in 4th, Austria 1 in 5th, United States in 6th, Australia, Switzerland in 7th, and Italy 2 in 8th. And then we see Ukraine, Sweden, Romania, then our Chinese team who are going to be on home ice next weekend. Korea in their home race in 13th, nothing to be ashamed of there. Ukraine and China too, bringing up the final places. That was incredible.
That was really good, and I'm wanting to see the overall standings. I wonder how that changed.
Yes, I mean, Austria 2 with 100 points. Going from 116 points. I think that's going to be tough for them to chase down either Germany 1 or Germany 2, but we'll have to wait until we see those points. As we see Germany Germany 2 there, yes. Felix Lockett and Julia Talbot, so I got the name right this time. As we see the presentations here to the victorious Austrian team by Ines Vergelis, president of the International Luge Federation, in the Skechers mixed relay.
Team Austria 2, Kindl and Schulte.
There we go, the smiles.
Absolutely, 3 gold medals in 1 weekend. And we can only think what we're going to see in Beijing next week. When you're hitting form like that, it could be a profitable couple of weeks for Wolfgang Kindl and Lisa Schulte. So as we see the final standings, incredibly close. Germany 1 taking the overall Crystal Globe. Germany 2 taking 2nd, and Austria 2 going from 4th, just past the United States, into 3rd place.
Well deserved from Austria.
Yeah, United States were sitting in 3rd, but just getting knocked back 1 place by Austria 2. So big disappointment there for the team of Tucker West and Ashley Farquharson, but incredible racing from all teams today. It's been an absolute privilege to call this race, and this new format of the mixed race. I mean, it's the end of the first season of this. Do you think it's been a success?
I think it's been good. I think the athletes love it. I think the crowd loves it. It's fast. It's not super long, you know, but anything can happen. and it really mixes up. It shakes the whole field, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I love it. I really do. I think it's an incredible format. Like you say, it's not as long as the team relay, and I think the team relay is absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong. But I like this kind of short dose of relay luge that we get in the mixed event. It's just so spectator-friendly and so exciting to watch.
Perfect. That was a great way to spend the last 5 hours.
It really was. It really was. And apologies for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Technical hitch on the track, as we saw, I think, with the relay gate, as we see Wolfgang Kindl here. Final race of the weekend, just absolutely throwing down a run for the ages, leaving nothing in the changing room, so to speak, and really leaving it all out there on the track. As you can see how that track frosted up towards the end of the day here, with these very humid and quite warm weather conditions here in PyeongChang.
But it just goes to show, frost, perfect ice, they can do it anyways. It doesn't matter, the track may have slowed down a little bit, but they just sped up that much more.
Exactly. As you said earlier, the great racers, they find a way to make it work in
Guys,
any
congratulations
condition.
on winning the World Cup here in this new mixed event. How do you feel after this race?
Yeah, just amazing. It was for me an incredible weekend. For Lisa also for her first ever World Cup victory. And we did an amazing job. I think both runs were solid. And it was really close to the German guys, but it was, I think, really good competition for sure.
Well, he hit the nail on the head there. A really good competition. It was incredible. So close, back and forth the whole way down the track. I mean, watching those split times is a sport in itself. It really was fabulous.
Guys, congratulations for the podium here. How do you feel in this new event and taking home a medal?
Yeah, for me it's really cool that I that I race with Max. I train all summer with him, so it's another feeling. So I'm really happy.
Also taking home the overall title in this new event. Take us through, how do you feel with this new event in this season?
It was super fun also to drive in the last race of the season with Merle. It's super fun. In the end, I was like a little bit late with standing up for the touchpad. So I think that's the 200s for me. But in the end, we are super happy to get in the overall and one and also in two with the Team Germany too. So yeah, in the end, it's a super result. Thank you.
Great shot there of George Hackle. One of the many magicians that we speak about in terms of sled setup and coaching and, well, to be honest, general luge. So we should have one more interview coming up very shortly. But as we say, we're going to be closing down. It's been an absolute privilege to call these races. As we see what was on offer for so many of the teams this weekend, those Crystal Globes, they're going to have to wait for the individual events until next week in Beijing. I truly hope, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to miss that one, because that is going to be the World Cup finals, and it's one not to be missed. These overall standings in all of the individual disciplines are too close to call. What we can promise is drama, incredibly close racing, and what you would expect from the EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup Tour. These fantastic gravity sports athletes, the fastest in the world, just doing what they do best. It's getting close to the business end of the season here in Beijing, and it will be a privilege to announce that race for you next week. So I've been Mark Hatton this weekend, and it's been absolutely great to announce these races for you. I've had Reed Watts helping me out yesterday, Reed doing a wonderful job, and equally Veronica Ravenna of Argentina, just being the most wonderful co-commentator. Veronica, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful weekend's racing. I hope you've had fun.
Thank you. It's always a blast. If you can't be sliding, might as well be talking about sliding, is what I say.
So Saturday, February the 22nd, put it in your diary, luge fans. World Cup number 9 in Yanqing, China. The circuit's going to be moving countries again for the last time this season before they take a well-earned break and go probably somewhere hot.
Lisa, Gratulation für den Sieg hier im Mixed Event. Erzähl's uns kurz, wie war das Rennen für euch?
Danke, ja, es war ein cooles Rennen, auch wenn es durch die Verzögerung ein bisschen zach geworden ist am Anfang, aber ich glaube, wir haben beide echt gute Läufe gezeigt und nochmal gezeigt, dass wir richtig schnell sein können auf der Bahn und es war einfach ein mega Wochenende für uns beide, glaube ich.
Jetzt ist es das letzte Rennen im Mixed Event gewesen, ein neues Event dieses Jahr. Wie war es für euch diese Saison?